Hey, what's up, gang? Today is Art at Home session number 12. Is it 12? 13. 13. Today's Art at Home session number 13. The big 1-3. And we'll be moving on. Yesterday we worked on textures, and now the next thing we work on is value. And as we know, value is what something is worth, and in the art world it's whether or not it's worth a lot of light or a lot of dark, if you guys remember. So depending on if the picture is really dark or really light, you're going to try and do the same thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a small value project. This is more of a drawing exercise, so you guys can get used to going from light and dark. Okay, and what we're going to need is of course, paper. We're also going to need a pencil, an eraser. We're going to need scissors today. And we're also going to need a reference, okay? And a reference can be a newspaper. You can use a newspaper as a reference. You can also use a magazine as a reference. If you guys have pictures that you see on the internet that you like, you can print it using your printer. So I've got printed papers right here, so I got pictures. Or you can use photographs if you guys have photographs. But for this project, I'm going to suggest that you guys use, if you're going to use a photograph, use a photograph that you don't think you're going to want anymore, because we will be cutting the picture. So we have different sources of things to refer back to. So you can either print out pictures from the internet. I got these from Google. So I printed out pictures today for my study. You guys can look inside the magazines. Lots of pictures in the magazines. Or you guys can find some pictures inside the newspaper. There's lots of pictures of different things inside the newspaper. Okay? So the study is going to be whatever you want to study. It can be an animal, it can be a person, a face, it could be a vehicle like a car or a plane. It doesn't matter. But what you want to try and do is you want to try and get a photo or a picture that's black and white. Okay, because having a black and white picture, it's going to be easier for us to see the lights and the darks, and when to go and push harder with the pencil and when to lighten up or press when we're sketching, so that it doesn't, you don't push it too hard and the colors end up not matching, or the value does end up not matching. So value is basically light and dark. So let me show you a real quick one. This is an easy picture. I found this on Google, and this is of the yin yang. And what I'm going to do is, once you find your picture, like say this picture here, this yin yang, you're going to take it and you're going to cut it in half. Alright, and for today's exercise, I am going to do this very easy because I don't want to spend the entire time drawing. I want you guys to get what you want to do and start drawing. So I'm just going to show you a really quick way to do this. So what you want to do is, you can fold your photo or your picture in half if you'd like to, so it makes it easier for you to cut. Then you're going to take your scissors, and on top of your crease you're just going to cut straight along that line. Okay, now this is what's going to happen. What you're going to do is you're going to take the right hand side, and this is going to be your reference paper, so you put that here, and then this one here you can either glue, I'm going to tape because it's faster, you can either glue it or tape it down. And you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and tape it off to the left. Alright, so now I have half of the yin yang symbol here. Now what the goal of this exercise is we're going to draw the other half of the picture. So this half here, then it goes here. We're going to draw this part, or at least try and get as close as we can to this that we can. Okay? Oh, bless you.
Sorry.
All right, so we take this on the side, move it off the side as a reference. Doesn't matter if you tape it to the wall or someplace that you can look at it straight on. We're just going to go ahead and tack it up against my work area's wall there. All right. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and start working on this. I'm going to fast forward the video so that, you know, you can see exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. All right. So here we go. Okay, so that's pretty much what the goal of today's exercise or our practice is going to be. And what it is it's capturing the lights and the darks off of your picture, the half that you cut off, redrawing it onto the piece of paper so that when you combine the two papers together, it looks like you haven't even like cut it. So basically you're replacing the picture you cut and you're replacing it with your drawing. All right. So in the end, your drawing should be on the right, your picture should be on the left, and this is the part that was missing. And what's great about the yin yang is it's just a white form and a black form swirling around each other. So it's a perfect contrast between the darkest dark and the lightest light. So this is a very basic, very simple photo. I don't expect you guys to do a photo like this, but the idea is to make that, when you cut your picture in half, to translate that information from the right side onto the right side of your drawing paper so that you can finish the rest of this paper here, the picture here. And you're going to notice that there's a little bit of white showing through the bottom. So I can actually extend my picture slightly just so that when the paper comes down you don't see that small white edge. Okay, so that should be better. Yeah, that looks nicer. Okay, so that's the gist of this idea today. You're going to take a photo, you're going to cut it in half, you're going to replicate the right side on the drawing paper and the left side you're going to tape it onto your paper, and you should have a finished product. Okay, so let's try that again. For those of you that don't have an easy picture, maybe you guys chose something a little bit more difficult. So let's take, for example, this picture of this little tiger here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this picture in half, and I'm going to be drawing everything on the right side. So we did that by folding our paper in half. That's the first step. Fold your photo in half. Taking the scissors and cutting along the crease. If it's a photograph, maybe don't crease the photograph because that photo paper is pretty thick. So maybe not cutting that one. maybe, I mean, not cutting it, but not folding it. So maybe instead, what you can do is maybe someone can help you measure it. Okay, so I'm gonna grab myself a little piece of tape, stick it down here. Fingers are all getting dirty. Okay, take another piece of tape. And stick it someplace that I can see it. Alright, so the rest of this picture here is going to go on this side, the part that I'm going to draw. So this is a little bit more involved because this is more of an animal, and animals get a lot of shapes, a lot of details. So this one's going to take me a little bit longer to do, but I just want to get you guys understanding what the idea is. So step by step, if you want to, start off by drawing, first of all, the outside shape, which is the shape of the photograph. Try to get it as close as possible because you want to recreate that drawing in. So we have the top line here, and we have the bottom line there. Okay, and the line should come down here. Okay, so after you do the outline of your outside, what is this? Like your barrier, your perimeter of your picture, then we can go in and start adding in those simple shapes. I'm going to start off with the negative shapes. I see some triangles here and there. Those triangles are going to help me to create the shape that's inside. I've got a funny looking shark fin coming down this way, or actually like a dolphin. And all of these lines on the outside of your picture is just as important as the lines on the inside. So all the stripes and the eyes and the nose and mouth of the creature, that's important. But so are these shapes on the outside here. This triangle, this tiny triangle, and this rabbit island looking shape. These are important just as much as the stuff on the inside. So that's going to help us create our form. Okay. All right. So now we have the outside contour of our photo. Oops. So the first step, do the perimeter of the photo. Second one, do the contour outline of the picture. And then finally, you're gonna go ahead and add in the actual shapes for your creature, or if whatever you're drawing, your person or whatever. And I'm just gonna go ahead and block some shapes out. And the shapes that I'm blocking out are the darker shapes. So these things I gotta remember are the darkest parts of my figure. So now I'm drawing the stripes, and it's just sketching. I'm just sketching the stripes out. It's not like the definitive line for the stripe because there's changes that can still be made. Make a mistake, just go back and erase it. Okay, so after we get the outline, the perimeter done, and then we do the negative shapes to block in the main shape to form, then we go ahead and add all the details that we can see on top of the other half of the paper. You know, add all these details to the right side. Now once this part is done, now we can go ahead and start adding in all the dark, because right now it's still kind of light. So we have some value caused by the lines, but we want to make sure that we have the entire thing the same as the first picture we have. So I have all this dark in the background, of the picture. I have these stripes over here that need to be colored in and whatnot, and even these whiskers, they're kind of stand out because they're light. So I want to get all those things into my picture, and I'm just going to go ahead and do that work really fast. And it's not going to be the greatest, I'm going to be honest with you guys, because I want to rush this so that you guys can see what it's going to end up being, okay? And of course I'm losing sunlight, so I'm going to go ahead and get this done really quick, alright? So here we go. Okay, so I have a majority of the darks and the lights that are pulled out because of the separation of shapes and darkening in those shapes to make the stripes. So those are all blocked in. I have the stripes, I have the eye, I have part of the nose. Now the part here that's going to be a challenge is if you look at the photograph, it's not just white and black or black and white. There are subtle changes here and there in the face of the animal. Even in the ear, you have like these highlights, you have these darker fur, and you have this darkness all around it. Now if you look really close at the ear compared to the background is, I'm going to pretend the background is the darkest part of the picture, which it is, and I'm going to compare that to the ear. Now the ear still stands out a bit because there is still, this part here is still lighter than the background itself. So I know, using this as a gauge, not to push as hard when I color in the ears. I could get away with pushing just as hard with the stripes because the stripes are pretty dark, but when it comes around the ear, you have this gradual gray area. Okay, even the nose, as bright as it is, there are still some spots here and there that are slightly darker than the actual white of the paper, and this white part here and here on the side of his forehead and right here on the side of his nose, those are probably going to be the lightest parts on the picture. The rest of the picture here underneath the chin, this is also white fur with stripes in it, but it looks gray like the ear because now it has shadows. See that? So even the head over here has slight shadows, only because the majority of the light is centered here on this side of the face here. So this is the part that takes a little bit more time, because now you're trying to capture those grays, those subtle value changes from light to dark. So this is where you're going to probably spend most of your time drawing out the picture, boxing everything in, putting the main shapes and lines in here. That's all good and well. It looks like it's a tiger, but if you want to go that step further where you actually make this half of the paper look like this photograph, you're going to have to start putting in some subtle value changes on the lights and the darks just to make it all come together so it looks more like this photograph. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and try and finish up really quick what it looks like to have some middle tones, middle values, and then we're going to move on. So about that, that's about as far as I'm gonna actually go with this photo. I could spend days and hours sitting down here working on the value, trying to get everything dark and light as close as I possibly think I can. That could take me quite a while though, but you guys get the idea. I mean, the general idea is to add lights and darks to make the picture look as close as possible to the other side. Yeah. So when you put the paper, you take it off, and there's actually the picture of the tiger under there. Okay. So you get the idea. I'm gonna go ahead and do one more example. And I have this one here, eyeball. There is so much going on in here with the lights and darks within this person's eye that, you know, once again, you could be here for hours just doing the surface right inside the iris. But this has a lot of nice value. You've got the highlight or the light that's hitting the top of the eyelid. You have the slow transition from light to dark value on the sides of the eyelid, and is right underneath the lid where the skin overlaps here before it goes towards the eye. It has a nice dark line right under there, and you have these eyelashes that are both light and dark that are kind of looks like splayed out. And when you get to the fleshy part of the eye, you have all this crazy value going on. You have these lights, darks, and that detail is what gives your pictures that extra something that makes it stand out. So if you're going to draw a picture of just an eyeball, you draw the football shape like I told you, and then you draw the iris, the pupil, and then you just color it in. That's fine. But if you want a picture that really wows people, these details, these are the things that people look for when they see a piece of work and they say, wow, that's a good one. Now, your pictures, they're good. And when I walk around the class and see you guys working and I tell you guys are doing a good job, you guys are. I know you guys don't believe me. Some of you are like, well, yeah, whatever, but it doesn't look like yours. It doesn't matter. The idea, the shape, the beginning, the foundation of the actual figure is what you want to get down first. So once you get the shape of the eye first, then you move with the different shapes inside the eye, all the textures that are coming off of the eye, or whatever picture you're drawing. Once you start adding those small details here and there, I can already see it being formed into something great. And just a little bit more information from a person who knows how to do art and stuff, just a little bit more information given to you guys, you can take those tools and you can use them on your next pictures, on the picture you're doing today, whatever, and you can apply those skills, those techniques to your picture to make them look more detailed. You shouldn't be having to worry about comparing your artwork to anyone else's. You should just be comparing your work to what you did last. Always grow, always improve. That's just the main idea. You cannot compare yourself to another artist, because art it's very subjective. It's whoever likes whatever at the time. Just because you don't get picked up as an artist to do a job doesn't mean that you have bad art. It just means that the person that they're looking for, their style, is the one that they're looking for at that time. Art is always evolving, and people that are coming up and trying to hire artists are always changing. So you never know what's in need. So what I'm saying is, practice your foundation, do your shapes, do your textures, your lines have to be nice and neat. Then you add your values, your textures, your values, and then you get yourself a stronger composition. And that's the idea. Just keep on adding, building up. So I'm just going to show you this last thing right here, and then the idea is to find yourself a photograph, black and white preferably, it works the best. Photograph, picture from a magazine, picture from a newspaper, picture off the internet like I did. Mr. Largon helped me print out these pictures for today's lesson. So yeah, basically that's it. Go ahead and cut it in half. Stick one side, the left side preferably. Unless you're left-handed, you can use the right side. If you're left-handed, you can draw on top of the left side. The reason why I say put the left side of the picture is because I'm right-handed. But of course, if you're left-handed, then use the right side of the picture and copy the left side while you're drawing with your left hand, okay? So that is totally up to you. All right, so other than that, That's the end of today's session. Today was all about value, which is balancing our lights, our darks, and our middle tones. And that is it. That's all I'm going to be discussing with you guys. That's the project for today. Find yourself a nice photo that you want to copy. If you have a photo of yourself that you want to do, or your parents or somebody in your family that has a unique face or something, or whatever. If you have a toy that you like to draw, maybe you want to draw your toy. Okay? But take a picture, cut it in half, place half of it on top of the paper in front of you, and draw the side that you cut off and moved away. Okay? Use that as your reference, as your tool to help you draw the other half. And with that said, have a great day. I'll see you guys next time.